Mr. Speaker, sir, thank you for allowing me to initiate the motion of thanks on the Governor's address on 16 February 2024. First of all, I would like to extend my greetings to all the distinguished honorable members of this august House. Sir, after having been read the written address of the Honorable Governor, we could see that the main target of this government is serious about the development and welfare of the state as a whole. With the paramount leadership of our Honorable Chief Minister, Sri Conrad K. Sangma, the government is really focused in making our state, Meghalaya, a 10 billion economy by 2028, thereby doubling the state economy. To attain this, the government has come up with various developmental schemes such as CM Elevate, where it is helping entrepreneurs to excel and accelerate their growth in private sectors. The main intention for creating such programs such as CM's Elevate, it is to provide the aspiring individuals with financial aid and equip them with skills and knowledge on how to run their business, which in turn will help accelerate the economic growth through job creation, tourism promotion, etc. So, with the different sectors that we have read out, I would like to come to the health sector. So we really have to commend the government as it's taken serious note for the improvement of the health sector. The seriousness of the government is not only for the urban as well as for the rural sector. With the introduction of Chief Minister's Safe Mother Scheme, the maternal death has reduced to 50%, which is great achievement. Creating and strengthening of PHCs, CHCs, and other health centers is the welcome move by the government, which will help the people of the state as a whole. At the same time, sir, I would like to request the government, to you, Mr. Speaker, sir, the speeding up of the construction and the facilities of the newly upgraded Banihat CHC. When we go to the road sector, I would like to thank the government for various connectivities, not only for my constituency, but for the state as a whole. The MMR road from Mairang to Ronnie has been completed. This is a big achievement. And the different connectivities from the World Bank, which I feel it's the great achievement of the people of the state as a whole. And to you, Mr. Speaker, sir, my constituency is very big in area, and above that, it is situated in the border with Assam. So I'd like to put some suggestion or request to the government, the Building Minister, that border road connectivities may be increased in this coming financial year so that we can connect the people who are residing in the border areas. When we look into the tourism sector, tourism now played a very vital role in the direct and indirect income of the people of a state. Thus, will increase the better livelihood of our people. I am thanking to the government, especially the tourism department, for many different schemes in implementing in promotion of tourism sector. Sir, I would like to congratulate and laud the government for various other developmental works that have been carried out, not only in my constituency, but in the state as a whole. So, to sum up, for the above few words, we would like to see the willingness and active interest of the government to see that the state prospers and that employment opportunities is generated at a fast pace for the welfare and betterment of the state as a whole. So, sir, with these few words, I once again advocate the motion of thanks on the governor address, and I resume my seat. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I would like to inform the House that amendments to the motion of thanks to the Governor's address has been submitted by Sri R.V. Lyngdoh, Leader of the Opposition, and seconded by Dr. Celestine Lyngdoh, MLA, and Sri Charles Mangner, MLA. So any one of the honorable members may move the amendment to the motion of thanks. Ronnie, please.
Yes, sir. I would like to move an amendment.
Excuse me. Before you speak, I will also request the honorable members who would like to participate in the debates on Governor's address to kindly give their names so that I can regulate the time. Yes, please. Sorry, please.
Sir, I'd like to participate in the Governor's address because we'd like to express a regret that the Governor's address fails to mention any effective measures to deal with the following: failure of the government to indicate commitment to address issues of influx and illegal immigration, price rise, failure of JJM Jal Jeevan Mission, safety and security of citizens at border areas, educational infrastructure for education, delay in completion of medical colleges, poor treatment of Asha and Anganwadi workers, failure of compensation on piggery farmers and other farmers, cattle rearers and all that, sir. Carry on, sir?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So thank you very much for allowing us to participate in this. So I'd like to go through this speech of the governor. First, in the home of political, sir, as stated, it seems there is still influx going on in the state, and I would like to urge upon the government. I've seen there are many measures being taken by the Home Political and Home Police Department, but sir, there is no mention of creating more police stations so that we can monitor this issue of influx that is still taking place. And so there is no mention of, I've seen that, a lot of vacant posts have been filled up. This I would like to express my appreciation. But then I believe these posts, by creating more police stations, these posts can be put into better use so that our manpower is put into better use and ensure that, there is peace and security in the country, in the state. And of course, we have to create more police stations. For example, sir, I've taken up with the Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, Upper Shillong area, Malim area is divided between two police stations, that is the Maungap outposts outpost and the Jalupara police station. For example, a mere accident, sir, and now with the heavy traffic going on there, a mere accident. Now, for example, both the parties involved in accident would like to have the police to register a case. Now it takes a very long time for the police. In the meantime, the traffic is held up. So if you have a police station close by, sir, this within few minutes or within, an hour or so, this issue can be settled, and of course the vehicles will not be impeded to, flow through. So, sir, I would like to ensure that, more police stations are created not only in Upper Shillong area, but in other parts that, requires better monitoring of the security forces. Agriculture and farmers issues, sir, I would like to thank you for taking us to Hyderabad for that, legislators meet. And pleasantly, I came to know about a lot of interventions by the government when I attended that meeting in Hyderabad. For example, the agriculture department has started with the natural farming. So I requested the officer of the department, why don't you have sensitization programs for the MLAs so that we can reach out to more farmers to begin with these new interventions of natural farming. And of course, a few days back, some officers came to my residence, and so we were told about a lot of interventions that can help the farmers, especially now, with the cases of many people getting sick, like cancer, and then you have kidney failure, you have this liver failure. I don't know, I'm not a doctor, but possibly it could be the food that we're consuming that is not safe for human consumption. For example, a lot of pesticides, a lot of chemicals are being used to cultivate our crops. So if, agriculture department can in a way prevent this disease that is affecting a lot of large numbers of our population. Now, if we can go into natural farming, it will only help our health, it will also help our economy, because we know if we get certification for organic crops, they can fetch higher prices also and ensure economic benefit to the people, and at the same time, of course, ensure that the food we consume are fit for human consumption. So this was not mentioned. And sir, I've seen the horticulture department, yes, to increase the income of the farmers. They've introduced a lot of crops that are not indigenous to the state. But then I'd appreciate that, but also at the same time urge upon the horticulture and agriculture department to ensure that we promote our indigenous foods, indigenous crops, indigenous fruits. For example, in Milliam, and I believe in other parts of the state also, a lot of this fruit, sope, is grown. So I request upon the horticulture department to ensure that these crops are also protected and promoted, because they have a lot of medicinal properties. If you have any stomach ailment, and sope and with the juice that is extracted from this crop, this can be, it can act as a medicine that can cure all those ailments. So, and then there are other crops also that is, prevalent in our state. For example, we have this, so many other crops. So, sir, I would like the urge upon the agriculture and horticulture department to ensure that those crops, besides the crops, for example, strawberry and other crops that are being promoted, kiwis and all, these other crops are also not neglected. Because they don't need to be, people need not be told about how to grow them, because they grow them abundantly, naturally also. And then coming to animal husbandry and veterinary, sir, and I think the Honorable Minister of Veterinary had taken the initiative to set up a veterinary hospital at Upper Shillong. I don't know what is the state of that, veterinary hospital at Upper Shillong, because recently we had this LSD being affecting our cattle. So if we have a hospital, immediately relief can be provided, and of course preventive measures can be taken up, quickly, because now I believe in East Khas Hills, I don't think we have any veterinary hospital except the one that is located in the city, that is in Garikana, and the head office of the veterinary hospital. a veterinary directorate. So if we have a hospital in the East Khas area and in Apashlong, this can go in a long way in ensuring that such diseases, such viruses are prevented at the earliest and prevent large-scale loss to the farmers. And of course, I put question, but I believe it will not come because my question is listed very in the last. So, sir, I would like to know from the government, a lot of farmers have been affected by this lumpy skin disease. And in fact, some of them have lost the entire stock. And some of them were, shifted from daily wage to cattle rearing, now have gone back, sir, to, those original profession because they've lost all the cattle that they were rearing. So I don't know what is the government intention to help those farmers who have ventured into cattle rearing to get back into those business after they've lost all the cattle. And of course, piggery mission I've seen, but then a lot of livestock were affected by this African swine flu. I don't know what is the measures that is being taken by the government, by the department, to ensure that those farmers who have started taking up piggery and cattle rearing are being compensated for the livestock that they've lost. So a lot of issues were raised that the fish imported from outside the state, there was this chemical being used, palmolin. I don't know whether any effective mechanism to ensure that the fishes that are still being imported from outside, there is some mechanism to check that those fishes are not, those chemicals are not used for preservation of those fishes, so that we ensure that the fish that the people of the state consume are fit for consumption. So these are some of the issues that were not mentioned because I don't know, a lot of people stopped taking fish after that issue was raised by the Food Safety Department regarding the fishes that are being imported, certain chemicals are being used. So these are some of the issues. And then, of course, sir, I would like to stress on food and civil supplies. We've raised this issue of price rise. I don't know what is the government mechanism to check that price rise are under control so that the common man doesn't have to suffer the increase in the price of food grains and other commodities. And sir, stressing on education, I've seen there are some of the measures that the government is taking up to ensure dropout rates. So some of the issues I would like to suggest, and which is not mentioned in the governor's address, setting up of more government colleges, because we all know, all of us know, that when admission starts, people come to us for assistance because the fees are so high. Admission fees are so high, some 20,000, 30,000. Now if they have 2, 3 children to be admitted into colleges, puts a lot of pressure on the parents. So sir, I've seen, yes, there are measures being taken to ensure there is less dropout in pursuing studies, but I don't see any effort, only mentioned by the government to set up government colleges. For example, so I'll just give you an example. I'm not being constituency specific, but then with the data statistics that I have, so that I can speak with conviction. For example, in Malay Mapashilong area, we have not less than 25 secondary and higher secondary schools. There is not a single government college. There are colleges being set up by organizations, but then they don't offer streams. For example, now in the job market, it's not only the arts and commerce and science streams that are required. There are other streams too that are required to be looked into. So if you have government colleges, this will ease the pressure on the parents to allow the children to pursue studies. And if this can be looked into, of course, I've seen the government is taking up measures to ensure that the state prospers. But unless we have an educated population, sir, I don't know those interventions, how much they will achieve their objectives. So the main thing is to ensure that we provide our children, our future generation with quality education, and by setting up more institutions in the rural areas especially, this will ease a lot of pressure on the parents. For example, so students coming from Malay Mapa Shillong area, I'm talking only about my constituency, parents will have to give not less than 200 per day only for transportation costs and of course for snacks and other needs of the children. So there are parents who have 4 or 5 children pursuing studies in the city. They need at least 800 to 1,000 per day, sir. So that puts a lot of pressure, and if you can bring educational institution closer to the villages, this will ease the problem and ensure that our children do not drop out from studies because of the distance that they have to cover to reach their place of studies. Sir, I don't know how much the government is paying to the private colleges, but I was told there are colleges receiving crores and crores of rupees as assistance from the government. But then they're still charging very high fees. So if the government can look into this, the colleges that are receiving assistance from the government do not exploit, rather I would use the word exploit, by charging higher fees for admission, for tuition fees of the children. So this puts a lot of pressure on the parents. Those who cannot afford, they send to other colleges that charges less, and of course the quality of education is not certain what kind of education they are imparting. So sir, I would request the government to look into this, ensure that we have some kind of mechanism to ensure that all colleges, especially those receiving assistance from the government, to fix a minimum admission fee, minimum tuition fee, so that our children are encouraged, parents are encouraged to send the children to institutions to pursue this study. This is one of the issues that I've seen, that dropout rates is increased because the parents cannot send their children to pursue studies because of the high tuition and high admission fees. And then of course there are schools that privately run by the villages, by the religious organizations. When they go for opening permissions, it takes very long time. For example, recently there is a school that had to tie up with other schools to allow the children to appear for examinations. So if this can be also expedited, this will help the students to appear for exam from their own respective schools rather than tying up with other schools to appear for examination. Sports and youth affairs. Sir, I would request, yes, I know that the government is setting up many sports complexes, but then, for example, if you have only in urban centers, then in the rural centers, people will not have the facilities of all this, national or world-class stadia. So I would urge upon the government to set up more sports stadia, at least at the block level, so that you have facilities, if not world-class, at least national level sports stadia at the block level to encourage a young and budding sports person to hone their skills and improve their skills so that they can bring glory to the state and of course make this sports and youth activity as a profession that they can pursue to for their own interests. Labor, sir, I don't know. There are a lot of course, all of us representatives have the same problem. We have professionals like engineers, doctors, nurses, and of course from other streams also coming to us for getting employment. So I don't know, I can suggest to the government, for example, we have a lot of these firms coming and implementing schemes. So I request the government, if some of our unemployed professionals like engineers can be on a contract basis until the project is completed, to be absorbed so that they gain experience and at the same time also they can earn some income. Some of them have taken loans to pursue their studies and some of them are not able to pay because they've not been employed yet. So we have so many firms implementing projects in our state. Somehow if the government can impress upon those firms to absorb some of our professional engineers especially, so that at the same time they earn an income and at the same time they earn experience also. Forests and environment, sir, there was no mention, of course. The government is doing a lot of intervention, but then I think more needs to be done to ensure that our forests and our green cover increase so that it's for our own benefit only. With global warming and with the climate change, this is one of the solutions that we can prevent, the hazard of climate change and global warming. Water resources, we have discussed earlier about conserving our water sources. So I urge upon the government to ensure that our water sources are rejuvenated and protected. And of course, I've seen some intervention to rejuvenate Wa'umkra and Umshepi rivers. So I don't know exactly up to what extent this has been done, because we can still see the level of pollution of these two streams that are passing right through the city. And it's not only an eyesore, I think it's a shame to all of us that these rivers that are passing right through our city, Shillong, is becoming, I don't know what to say, not an eyesore, but a shame to us, to all of us. And then I think this needs more to be done. If the government of India can have the Ganga rejuvenation, why can Meghalaya have these streams, rivers that are passing right through our urban centers, be it in Shillong, Jowai, Tura, Nongstoin, that these are revived, rejuvenated. It will add only to the beauty, not only add only to the beauty, they can even serve as drinking water sources if this can be rejuvenated and ensure that life is given back to these rivers in the city and the urban centers. And of course, preservation of water catchment areas, we have taken up earlier during the question hour. I'd like to urge upon the government to come up, I don't know, if we have laws, because a lot of construction is being taken up in all these catchment areas, a lot of deforestation is being done at these catchment areas. We can come up with some laws to ensure that these are protected and they're not destroyed. Then we will not have to worry about shortage of drinking water and water for irrigation and for agriculture department. Soil and water conservation, I'd like to thank the Chief Minister. He has ensured that these two basins, the Umyao Basin and the Ganol Basin, they've received a fund from the EDB to ensure that these are protected. And I'm sure that these, take the stakeholders also into confidence, so that to ensure that, proper implementation of the scheme is done and the money will not be wasted. And of course, sir, transport, we had taken up, in fact, the Deputy Chief Minister in charge of transport had given an assurance in this house about the level of noise pollution being by the transport, by the vehicles. Still it is going on, sir, because a lot of vehicles are still using very loud horns, which is not permissible within city limits. I was given by the transport department, by the police department, the level of decibels that can be used, but I don't see any mechanism being used to ensure that these are, implemented. Still you have a lot of trucks plying in Upper Shillong, Milim area using very loud horns, sir, even at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Because when they pass each other, there's just a way of greeting each other by blowing the horns, and this disturb the sleep that the people are, at around 2, 3 o'clock in the morning when people are still sleeping. Sir, I've seen that the MTC building is being reconstructed. May I know the name of the firm, sir, that is doing the construction of this MTC building? And then, of course, sir, earlier I remember when we were very young, when we were in school and colleges, we used to hear a lot about these mobile courts of the transport department, where, by the roadside, they check the vehicles, they check a lot of things. I don't see now being done, sir. So if this can be done, we can check drunken driving. A lot of accidents happen because of drunken driving, because of, this reckless driving. And if you have this mobile courts, once in a while in all the places, along the highway especially, then we can ensure that, that act as a deterrent to these reckless drivers and these drunken drivers who cause a lot of fatalities and a lot of accidents to a lot of people, traveling using the road. Tourism, yes, I've seen the tourism policy of the government, and we used to hear a lot about the government, especially the minister in charge of tourism, about attracting high-end tourists. So may I suggest, because we have only 2 5-star hotels in the state in Shillong. Now we can have more 5-star hotels located, in place of tourist interest. Then we can attract high-end tourists. Otherwise, we have these backpackers, we have these tourists who come, clog our streets and then, create a lot of congestion. Now, if we can attract high-end tourists, then fewer of them will come, but then they'll be spending more and will not add to the congestion and the pollution of the state. So these are some of the suggestions I would like to offer, because there was no mention by the governor on all this, of setting up more high-end hotels so that we can attract tourists, because I believe we do not have a hotel, even this Marriott, that has more than 100 or 120 rooms. So if we can have 300-400 rooms, then of course we can, because anybody who would like to visit our state, some of them, high net worth people would look at the facilities available before they come to our state. Otherwise, we'll be attracting people who will hardly spend anything, but only, of course, add to the congestion and, all the traffic jam in the city. Commerce and industry, sir, this is very important with the amount, of unemployment that is happening in the state. I'll just give you an example, sir. For example, now, if we concentrate more on what our local people have been doing, we can ensure that commerce and industry supports, promotes, helps these local entrepreneurs, for example. I'll give you, for example, sir, in Milim, a lot of people are engaged in blacksmithing. They produce this kudalis and then all these implements that can be used for farming, etc., etc. Each blacksmith employs not less than 5 to 6 people. Now there are hundreds of them in Milim, sir, hundreds of them. So thousands of them are employed. Now if the government can give them some support, be it financially, technical, this will help them in, ensuring that those people who are engaged in this blacksmithy maintain working in those units, and of course contribute to the economy of the state, and at the same time ensure that our local rural folks get employment at the village level itself. So this is some of the submissions, and I'm sure other constituencies do have similar units that employs the local people, and if this can be looked into by the Commerce and Industry Department, will help a long way in solving the unemployment problem, that the people who have not had any education can be employed meaningfully in these units, in these sectors. The roads, sir, yes, I'm very happy to ensure state in the House that the Shillong-Dawki Road, especially in the from Umshirpi to Banyan, work is being done, at a very fast pace. So ensure that the roads, because they're the lifeline of our state, the lifeline of our economy, to ensure that the roads, there are proper supervision, and then roads are constructed as per specification, not after a shower and the road is damaged. So because, for example, like the late President of America, John F. Kennedy, had a very, very, strong statement, said, America is rich, or rather, American roads are good, not because America is rich, but America is rich because American roads are good. So if we can have something like that here, good roads, then I'm sure we can also be very rich like America, because, transportation and then the time, wear and tear to the vehicles, if we have good roads, this can all be prevented. Power, of course, sir, now all the countries in the world, in fact, we've had agreements to ensure that fossil fuel is reduced, if not completely done away with, but then I think we have certain timeline to ensure that we shift from fossil fuel to clean energy. And then, of course, now we have even our own Honorable Chief Minister has been using electric vehicle. So if all of us use electric vehicle, and I think will require a lot of power. So I am sure the government is looking into this, not only, electric vehicle, but then ensure that the power that is being supplied in the state is, slowly and gradually, and of course, shifting to clean and renewable energy, because we know fossil fuel, the damage it causes to the environment, the damage it causes to all our lives. Sir, I'd like to know from your, regarding urban affairs, I've seen a lot of GNN-URM buses being condemned. So what are the number of GNN-U buses that are still being plied, and how many of them have been condemned? Because this is one way of ensuring that we provide people with cheap, affordable and efficient transport system. And if this can be continued, this will help a long way, as I said, even for students coming from Mulim or people coming from Mulim. I'm just giving an example of Mulim, sir, and I'm sure other constituencies which are further away, it will be a huge burden for them to come to their workplace, to come to the city, to commute because of the high cost of transportation. If this can be continued, sir, to provide our population, people, our students, affordable and efficient transport system, will go a long way in easing the financial burden that is being faced by the people now. And regarding housing, sir, I've seen the government has introduced this Chief Minister's housing system. So I would like to know, because whether the MLAs have any say in this, especially MLAs from the opposition side, while selecting, or whether they are considered in those block level housing selection and monitoring committees, because I've submitted my names of the committees, but still not, till now, sir, till date, I've not received any information whether my proposal has been considered or not. So my point is, sir, I think it's better we take the MLAs who have been elected by the people into confidence regarding this, a block level housing selection committee introduced by the government to provide assistance to poor families to have proper shelter, proper roof over their head. So these are some of the things that we want to highlight, sir, that has not been highlighted by the governor in the governor's address. So with this few words, sir, and then of course when it comes to mining and geology, we've seen that 4 applicants have been approved. I'd just like to know, as an MLA, regarding the district mineral fund, how it is being utilized, and whether the MLAs can have any say regarding developmental projects that can be taken up through this district mineral fund. So with these few words, we have highlighted, and of course there are other members who will highlight these other issues that were not mentioned in the governor's address. So with these few words, sir, I believe the government will take some of our opposition members' suggestions seriously to ensure that we provide the best to our people in the state. With these few words, sir, I thank you, and I resume my seat.
Thank you.